Good afternoon on what is a cool, grey and overcast day. It is Friday, October the 8th. I'm back in the reading Nook with some parcels and of course a nice hot cup of tea. So the first parcel I'm going to unbox, in fact I'm going to continue unboxing this because I've already been into this twice. So what I have pulled out of here is so far two things. So the first is Mothership, The Haunting of Epsilon 14, and then last time I looked at terminal delays at Araren's Folly, and below that there is Hideo's World. Okay, now what these all share in common is that they are adventures, or in particular one-shots for Mothership, the sci-fi horror role-playing game. Now, Mothership sci-fi horror role-playing game is draws as its inspiration the films Alien and Aliens and that canon, and also films like Outland for its feel and tone, if not its specifics. Okay, space is a place where people go to work, so it's grimy, grungy, and there's not a lot of this, high-tech, gleaming white, basic machinery and people walking around in sort of like nicely smooth pajama suits or whatever. So essentially, you play members of a starship crew. We might play a team of Marines or a scientific research team who go to a situation or a world and discover something terrible because the universe is filled with the unknowable, which might very likely want to kill you or drive you insane, and so on. So, but Hideo's World, this again is a pamphlet adventure. Now, what's great about these pamphlet adventures is they are self-contained. They are trifold, so you literally open them up. Like you've got the front page, you've got everything you need to play for the most part on the inside. So, so obviously, you've got a location, a map in the middle, and then the descriptions of the locations are all around it. On the back, there's a more detailed description of the tower that plays a role, and then we have tables for glitches, textures, and ads on the back. So it's all very self-contained, very complete. These typically need a little bit of preparation upon the part of the referee for Mothership, but they're fairly easy to prepare, and essentially they really do sort of sit at the table, and essentially the GM has everything in front of her to run them. So let's have a look at Hideo's World. Yeah, there we go. So maverick inventor Hideo K designed the Hypno-DD, a prototype games console that could be played while sleeping, running slickware in place with the user's dreams. With the tech too expensive to mass manufacture, Hideo attempted to turn a profit on the project by selling ad space with a specially made Slick World and broadcasting his own dreams via satellite as entertainment. When this failed to make an impact and the satellite broadcast system was shut down, Hideo resigned to a life of drug-induced coma, living in a game world he created alone. This couldn't last. As time passed, the imperfect neural link gradually deteriorated, the slickware like a cassette playing too many times. Hideo's reality is beginning to fall apart. To reach Hideo, you must enter the Hypno-DD's slick world via a direct wired interface and find him before the system data and his mind fades into static. So that's an interesting setup, and it's essentially essentially that's the setup for the actual scenario itself. That's the background. There is no setup. Okay, there is no reason why the player characters are there and involved, and I think that's the preparation that the GM is going to have to do. Is going to have to go away and essentially come up with why involve the player characters. Now, obviously, it might well be, let's say, for example, you want to send in a team to recover Hideo because essentially his assets need to be sold off and he needs to be alive to sign them off. For example, something like that. I don't know, corporate team wanting to recover data and information, and they need him alive. So might be going in for that. Or you might want, essentially, a corporation wants the research and basically wants to make sure he doesn't survive. There are options. So, essentially, you start off from the plaza. And essentially, the menu screen, the Hypno DD, represented as a physical space. It's a communications tower in the centre, 4 doors at the opposite end, and one behind the players as they enter. And bland music is playing sourcelessly, occasionally skipping, and there's a looped 2D image of a pink pixelated sky floating above. Blimps and planes, also 2D sprites fly through, displaying ads. More slogans scroll across the black and white tiles on the floor. A weird, pinky, jerky, pixelated glitch sea surrounds the plaza. In the distance, a flying island holds up the tower. So, this is the world where the player character will be exploring. So you've got the communications tower, the 4 doors, the door behind the players, and then you've got the tower in the distance. And presumably, to really get to find where Hideo is, the player character is going to have to explore this virtual world, or eventually this virtual dream world. Essentially, and then the communications tower. It's got the description there, all the denizens there, and then on the back, basically you have essentially on the rear of one of the panels, you have a complete description of the tower, which presumably the player characters will have to get to and then ascend in order to locate Hideo. And this includes essentially you've got glitches like whenever an object or character comes into contact with a glitch C or a bug, or for a random glitch below. Player characters can use the hacking style to initiate their choice of any one of these glitches in an object and so on they're touching. So the object might be erased or texture swapped, or it basically spawns a duplicate object. Lags, gift, object repeats its last or next motion indefinitely. Clipped, object can pass through other solid objects, and bugged object turns into a bug, so on. And then text, you've got a table for textures, and then for the adverts. And of course, the adverts, I think, basically is a space where the referee really has room to go to town and add details of her own. And basically, sometimes obviously inspired by the little table that she is given there. So I don't know anything. I think that's about it, really. That's my first impression of Hideo's world for Mothership Sci-Fi Horror role-playing game. These are all designed as one-shots. There's several of them, and they're not just one-shots, but one-shots that are relatively easy to bring to the table. So this certainly qualifies, certainly on the size, certainly in the background, minimal preparation, come up with a reasonable explanation as to why the player characters have to enter Hideo's world, and then also, if you've got time, the players don't have to generate their own characters. The referee could easily generate a set of characters for these, and give each one of them motivations and so on, and relationships, and basically just plot up some, basically stat up some pre-gens and present them as options for players. Right, so that's Hideo's world for Mothership Sci-Fi Horror role-playing game. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, please do click the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, please do post them. I do take the time to read and respond. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with some packages and something I can chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, of course all accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. And again, thank you again for watching, and I'll be back again soon with another unboxing in the Nook. Bye for now.